Welcome back to Celestial Scrolls, where ancient wisdom comes alive through timeless tales. Today, we continue our exploration of Journey to the West with Episode 28, The Valley of Echoing Truths. In our previous episode, Tang Sanzang and his disciples reached the summit of the Mountains of Accumulation, where they witnessed the lotus blossom open and reveal profound wisdom. Now, our heroes descend into a mysterious valley where truth resonates and falsehood falls silent. This captivating chapter reveals how each character, the devoted monk, the powerful monkey king, the indulgent Bajie, and the steadfast Sha Wujing, must confront their deepest truths as they navigate a landscape that literally echoes back their honesty. What secrets will they uncover in the mirror of essential nature? And what new powers will Tang Sanzang's lotus staff reveal? Join us for this mesmerizing continuation of their westward journey, where wisdom is gained not through conflict, but through honest reflection. Don't forget to like and subscribe for more episodes as our pilgrims face their next challenge, the forest of competing convictions. Celestial Scrolls brings you the philosophical adventure that has captivated imaginations for centuries. Tang Sanzang led his disciples down the ridge, his new lotus-born staff glowing softly in the deepening twilight. The landscape before them was unlike any they had encountered thus far, a vast valley shrouded in mist, punctuated by strange rock formations that resembled frozen sound waves. "What manner of place is this?" asked Bajie, his small eyes narrowing with suspicion as he surveyed the terrain. Wukong leapt ahead, performing a somersault in mid-air before landing on a nearby outcropping. He sniffed the air, his keen senses alert for danger. "This valley has a voice of its own," he announced, cocking his head to one side. "Listen carefully." They all fell silent. At first, there was nothing but the soft whisper of the evening breeze. Then, gradually, they began to hear it, faint echoes that seemed to originate from nowhere and everywhere at once. Whispers, fragments of conversation, laughter, weeping, human sounds without human presence. "The Valley of Echoing Truths," Tang Sanzang murmured, the name coming to him as naturally as if he had always known it. His new staff pulsed with golden light, responding to the revelation. Sha Wujing shifted uneasily. "These echoes, they sound like voices from my past." "And mine," admitted Bajie, his usual bravado momentarily subdued. Tang Sanzang nodded thoughtfully. "Perhaps that is the nature of this place. While the Mountains of Accumulation showed us the patterns in our gathered wisdom, this valley may reveal how our truths resonate beyond ourselves." They made their way down into the valley as night fell completely. The mist grew thicker, limiting visibility to a few yards ahead. Only the soft glow from Tang Sanzang's staff provided reliable illumination. The echoes grew more distinct as they descended, sometimes forming complete sentences before dissolving back into unintelligible murmurs. "We should make camp," Tang Sanzang suggested when they reached level ground. "The path through this valley is not one to navigate in darkness." They found a relatively dry clearing beneath an overhanging rock formation. As Bajie and Sha Wujing gathered materials for a small fire, Wukong scouted the immediate surroundings, returning with a troubled expression. "The echoes follow definite patterns," he reported, squatting beside his master. They grow stronger when I speak certain truths and fade when I attempt deception. Tang Sanzang raised an eyebrow. You tested this? Wukong grinned sheepishly. A small experiment, master. I stated a genuine regret for my past, and the valley echoed it threefold. When I invented a false boast, the valley remained silent. Interesting, Tang Sanzang mused. A place that amplifies truth and ignores falsehood. The fire crackled to life under Bajie's careful attention. As they gathered around its warmth, the echoes seemed to organize themselves, becoming clearer and more focused, as if the valley itself were settling in to listen to their conversation. I don't like this, Bajie grumbled, shifting uncomfortably. Some truths are best left unspoken. Sha Wujing nodded in agreement. We all carry burdens we'd rather not share. Yet, is that not the very lesson of the Mountains of Accumulation? Tang Sanzang countered gently. That wisdom comes from seeing the patterns in all we have gathered, the glorious and the shameful alike. As if in response to his words, the staff in his hand emitted a pulse of golden light that briefly illuminated the entire clearing. In that moment of clarity, they could see that the rock formations surrounding them were not random at all, but sculpted into forms that suggested attentive listeners, an audience of stone. We are being tested again, Wukong realized aloud. As his words left his mouth, they were caught by the valley and repeated not as mere echoes, but as harmonics, the same truth expressed in multiple registers simultaneously. Tang Sanzang studied the staff in his hand, noting how its glow intensified whenever truth was spoken. I believe this valley requires honesty from travelers, he said. Perhaps it is how we earn our passage. You mean we must confess? Bajie looked distinctly uncomfortable. Not confess, Tang Sanzang corrected. Simply speak our truths, whatever they may be. The valley does not judge. It only echoes. They slept uneasily that night, surrounded by whispers that never completely subsided. Each of them dreamed of conversations long past, moments when truth had been spoken, distorted, or withheld entirely. Dawn brought little change to the misty landscape, though the echoes seemed to recede somewhat in the light of day. After a simple breakfast, they continued their journey through the valley, following a path that appeared and disappeared through the swirling fog. As they walked, Tang Sanzang reflected on the nature of their quest. I have often wondered, he said aloud, whether the sutras we seek are worth the dangers we have faced, whether any text, however sacred, justifies such hardship. His words echoed through the valley with surprising power, returning to them not as exact repetitions, but as thoughtful responses. The journey itself is the sutra. The sutras we seek are written within us. Truth justifies all hardships. The valley answers, Sha Wujing observed with wonder. Encouraged by this response, Wukong spoke next. I served the Jade Emperor for centuries, yet never felt my worth recognized. My rebellion was born of wounded pride as much as righteous anger. The valley caught his truth and transformed it. Recognition sought outside brings endless disappointment. Pride and righteousness are two faces of the same coin. True worth is self-known before it is other-known. Bajie shuffled uncomfortably before offering his own truth. I fear returning to heaven almost as much as I desire it. What if I fail again? What if my appetites overcome my aspirations once more? The echoes swirled around them. Fear and desire are twin illusions. Failure is merely a step in understanding. Appetites transformed become the fuel for aspiration. Even Sha Wujing, usually the most reticent of the disciples, found himself speaking. I have followed orders all my existence. First heavens, then hells, now yours, Master. Sometimes I wonder if I have any self beyond obedience. The valley responded with gentle wisdom. Chosen obedience differs from compelled servitude. The self emerges through conscious choice. To follow from love reveals one's true nature. As each of them spoke their truths and received the valley's echoed insights, the mist began to thin perceptibly. Paths that had been obscured now became visible, revealing the true layout of the valley floor, a vast natural amphitheater converging on a central point still hidden in the distance. They walked for hours, each step bringing greater clarity, both to the landscape around them and to their understanding of themselves. The rock formations, now clearly visible, did indeed resemble an audience of attentive listeners, arrayed in concentric circles that focused on whatever lay at the valley's heart. By midday, they reached the edge of the mist that still concealed the valley's center. Here, the path divided into 4 separate routes, each leading inward, but taking very different approaches. We must choose, said Tang Sanzang, looking at the diverging paths with uncertainty. Wukong examined each route carefully. They appear to represent different ways of approaching truth, he observed. This one spirals gradually inward, the path of contemplation, perhaps. That one proceeds directly but crosses difficult terrain, the path of confrontation. The third weaves between obstacles, the path of adaptation. And the fourth, he hesitated, the fourth seems to vanish entirely before re-emerging at the center, the path of surrender. Do we separate, each taking the path that suits our nature? Asked Sha Wujing. Tang Sanzang shook his head. I think not. This valley has taught us that our truths echo and intertwine. We must proceed together, but... He paused, studying his staff thoughtfully. Perhaps not along any of these paths. To the surprise of his disciples, Tang Sanzang stepped off the marked paths entirely, walking directly into the misty center of the valley. His staff glowed brighter with each step, cutting through the obscuring fog. Master! Bajie called in alarm. The paths are there for a reason. Indeed they are, Tang Sanzang called back, without breaking stride. They are there to make us believe there is only one right way to approach truth, when in fact, he gestured for them to follow, truth can be approached from any direction, so long as one moves with honest intention. Hesitantly at first, then with growing confidence, the disciples followed their master off the established paths and into the mist. As they walked, the fog parted before them, revealing not physical obstacles, but manifestations of doubt, fear, and preconception that dissolved when directly confronted. At the very heart of the valley, they discovered not some grand monument or magical artifact, but a simple clearing where the mist had completely dispersed. In the center stood a natural stone dais, and upon it a perfectly circular pool similar to the one they had encountered at the summit of the Mountains of Accumulation, though this one was much smaller, perhaps only 3 feet in diameter. Unlike the pool of potentiality, this one did not show visions of possible futures. Instead, Its surface reflected each viewer with perfect clarity, not merely their physical appearance, but the essential truth of their being. Tang Sanzang saw himself not as the vulnerable human monk he often felt himself to be, but as a vessel of compassionate purpose, a bridge between divine wisdom and human understanding. Wukong glimpsed not the rebellious trickster or the powerful warrior, but the protective guardian whose greatest strength lay in his capacity for devotion. Bajie beheld not his gluttonous, lustful self, but the joyful spirit whose appetites, when properly channeled, became enthusiasm for life itself. Sha Wujing observed not the fearsome demon or the obedient disciple, but the steadfast presence whose constancy created space for others' transformation. The mirror of essential nature, Tang Sanzang named it softly. As they gazed into its depths, something remarkable happened. The staff in Tang Sanzang's hand began to pulse in rhythm with their heartbeats, 4 distinct tempos gradually synchronizing until they beat as one. With each unified pulse, the staff's golden light grew stronger, illuminating the entire clearing and causing the small pool to ripple with resonant energy. From the pool's center rose a single drop of water, defying gravity to hover in the air before them. As they watched in wonder, this drop expanded and transformed, taking on the appearance of perfect crystal. Within this crystal appeared a single character of Scripture, not written in ink, but composed of pure light. The first character of the Great Wisdom Sutra, Tang Sanzang breathed in recognition. The crystal character floated toward him, coming to rest at the tip of his staff, where it was absorbed into the wood with a flash of light. Immediately, a second drop rose from the pool, forming another crystal character that followed the same path. One by one, characters emerged from the pool and joined with the staff, 27 in all, each containing profound meaning that Tang Sanzang could sense rather than read in any conventional sense. When the final character had been absorbed, the staff blazed with such intensity that they were forced to shield their eyes. When the light subsided to a manageable glow, Tang Sanzang examined the staff with amazement. Along its length, the 27 characters were now visible, inscribed in flowing script that seemed to move subtly when not directly observed. "A portion of the sutra we seek," he explained to his disciples, "encoded in this staff to guide us forward." No sooner had he spoken these words than the pool before them began to drain, its waters spiraling downward until the basin was completely dry. At the bottom, revealed by the staff's golden light, lay a simple stone tablet with an engraved map showing their location and the terrain that lay ahead to the west. Wukong leapt down to retrieve the tablet, examining it with his sharp eyes before handing it to his master. "Our path continues through something called the Forest of Competing Convictions," he reported, pointing to the next major landmark on their westward journey. Tang Sanzang studied the map carefully. "And beyond that, the ocean of collective memory," he noted, tracing the route with his finger. "Our way grows no easier." "But we grow stronger," Sha Wujing observed quietly. As if in response to these words, the echoes that had accompanied them throughout the valley returned one final time, not as fragmentary whispers, but as a unified chorus that filled the clearing with harmonious sound. Truth spoken resonates beyond the speaker. Wisdom shared returns multiplied. The journey transforms the travelers even as the travelers transformed the journey. With the map in hand and the staff aglow with its newly acquired wisdom, Tang Sanzang led his disciples up the western slope of the valley. The mist that had obscured their path now seemed to propel them forward, currents of vapor swirling around their feet like eager guides. As they crested the valley's rim, they paused to look back at the remarkable landscape they had traversed. From this vantage point, they could see that the entire valley of echoing truths formed a vast natural symbol, the ancient character for listen. How appropriate, Tang Sanzang remarked with a smile. We have indeed learned to listen, to ourselves, to each other, and to the wisdom that echoes through all things. Before them stretched a dense forest unlike any they had seen before, trees of every conceivable type growing side by side in impossible proximity. Oak and pine, bamboo and willow, tropical palms alongside Arctic evergreens, each maintaining its distinct nature while participating in the same vast ecosystem. The forest of competing convictions, Wukong confirmed, consulting the stone tablet once more, where mutually exclusive truths somehow coexist. Tang Sanzang raised his staff, its golden light illuminating the narrow path that led into the diverse woodland. The 27 characters of the Great Wisdom Sutra glowed along its length, offering guidance for the challenges ahead. "Onward, disciples," he said with quiet determination. "The western heaven awaits, and we have many truths yet to discover." As twilight descended once more, they entered the strange forest, leaving behind the echoes of the valley, but carrying its lessons within them. That truth spoken honestly returns amplified, that wisdom emerges from the chorus of many voices, and that the most direct path to understanding often lies outside the roads we expect to travel. And that's the end of episode 28. Our pilgrims have navigated the valley of echoing truths and discovered the power of honest reflection. Tang Sanzang's staff now carries 27 sacred characters of the Great Wisdom Sutra, bringing them one step closer to their ultimate goal. What challenges await our heroes in the forest of competing convictions? How will they navigate a place where contradictory truths exist side by side? Stay tuned for episode 29 to find out. If you enjoyed this philosophical adventure, please hit that like button and subscribe to Celestial Scrolls. Your support helps us continue bringing these timeless tales to life. Drop a comment below, sharing which character's truth resonated most with you. Don't forget to check out our earlier episodes if you're new to the journey, and remember to turn on notifications so you never miss the next chapter in this epic quest. Thank you for traveling west with us today, and until next time, may your own journey be filled with wisdom.